Moth, that was pretty dominant. How was that match for you? And is there anything that maybe the viewer hasn't seen in terms of like the intricacies of this match?
Thank you. Yeah, we got the 3-0, but there's definitely a couple fights on Lijiang and Anubis we need to look over. We choked a couple times. I think we can definitely refine the play.
How has this meta generally been treating you? Like during scrims and generally like how you got to the solutions that you are at right now?
This is definitely a weird meta for Overwatch League. It feels like there's a lot of comps that are like pretty solid, so teams are kind of playing to their strengths. And there's a lot of different stuff that you can play at a high level. So for us, we're like playing to our strengths, and we're just like trying to figure out answers for all the other comps that other teams are playing. I think most teams are kind of doing that as well. They're choosing one direction to go, and they're figuring out how to play that style versus all the other comps.
Right. Now, while other teams seem to have an issue of finding like the right DPS players to put in at any given moment, depending on what kind of heroes you want to pick, I don't think that's a particular issue that you guys have because your players are so flexible.
Yeah, for sure.
On the support position, it's a little bit different, right? Where you have like a hard differentiation between you and the Skewed position. So can you sort of explain how that came to be sometime this season?
Yeah, for our support line, we kind of each have our own roles. Who plays really just depends on what the meta is, what we think the meta is for that map. So, Skewed and Shu are filling the double flex support and the on brig, the brig Zen comps, those sort of things, and I'm filling in for Lucio and Mercy when those heroes are meta.
Right. Now, for you in particular, I think a lot of people sort of see you as maybe not the archetypical idea of a shot caller, and I think we already realize that in Overwatch now everyone has to contribute to comps, but it still has to make a difference with Skewed in and with you in those two situations. So, do you think there's a fundamental change when one of you guys is in the comps?
I think we're both really good at it. Skewed's improved a lot for his calling throughout the year. That was one of the things he was struggling with, but I think DP kind of drilled it into him that he needs to be a leader for our backline a lot of the time, and he needs to be doing the ult tracking and that sort of shot calling role a lot. So everyone on our team is really vocal and any issues with that.
How are you acclimating to that position? Because of course, like we've known you that to pretty much play every map. There wasn't really much of an option for most of your career. How is that for you personally?
Well, it's not too different from how it was on Shock last year. It's pretty similar role when Double Shield at Brig was meta for like most of the season last year. Twilight and Violet were feeling that. So, you never know what the meta is going to be. If it goes back to Lucio and Mercy, then be in like 100% again. But for playoffs last year, the meta totally did a 180 and then see Mercy full time. So, never know.
Right. Now, sometimes it feels like because Overwatch can be so complex that certain aspects about the game are pretty much ignored or like overseen by the community. Do you think there's like an unsung hero within the Gladiators, maybe in particular in the last couple of weeks, that isn't talked about enough?
I'm really not sure. I haven't been following social media a ton recently, so I had the conversations. I can tell you.
Right. Maybe let me ask this then, because I think Defiant as like a face of the coaching staff is pretty potent in the Overwatch League. It's a name definitely people recognize and see also contributing to the general conversations. One guy we haven't heard much about is Face. Can you sort of like elaborate on that? On what the position there is?
I think it's similar how Shock was. David's the head coach, but everyone's contributing all the time. So even though he's, his word is final, the same way on Shock. Like Krusty's word was final, but everyone's doing their part when it comes to strategy and reviews and presenting to the team. So Face and Ty Dollar are both contributing just as much.
Right. Now, DePay recently had a tweet, and I think a lot of people seem to agree. Maybe there's also a North American bias towards that, where he's basically said, like, not only are the Shock and like the Outlaws not like any lesser teams, they're actually doing very well. It's just that the North American region is doing very well. It's super stacked right now, and
Uh-huh.
it's really competitive. Is that something that rings true from your point of view?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. This year the league's super competitive in NA. There's so many teams that are competing for the top few spots right now, and when only two of us go to Hawaii each stage, it's really competitive for those spots.
Right. What do you put it down to that this sudden increase in quality across the teams in NA came to be this? Yeah.
It's a bunch of reasons, but I think the main one is just the rosters in general have improved a ton, and there's so many rosters that are really strong right now.
Right. Is it also down to maybe having smaller rosters and more talent spread across the league, or is it just like we have filtered out like a great deal and now have mostly like great players in the North American region?
I guess it's a mix of both. I don't think the roster size matters too much. But yeah, the North American region right now has so much talent.
Right. Another interesting sort of aspect of this is I think in previous seasons, if we go down the list of like new introductions, like for instance, the Vancouver Titans came in as rookies and pretty much like did very well. Then the Element Mystic guys from the Paris Eternal came in as rookies, did very well. It seems like this is the first season where rookies aren't one of the dominating teams, and if anything, are adding towards it. Is it now the point where most of the veterans, like veteran status, actually means something that promises longevity in the Overwatch League?
Um, I'm not sure. I think year to year it's kind of random how good the rookies will be. It just happened that in season 2, like all of Runaway got picked up at the same time. This year there's still some really incredible rookies like Pelican, Muse, Skewed. I think all insane on their roles, for example. But yeah, who knows? Maybe next year a bunch of the insane NA rookies will be turning 18 and we'll see a big uh, a bunch of new talent in the league again.
For sure. Now, you have another match this weekend. It's against the Justice, which is a team that's hard to judge at the moment in terms of their performance. I mean, the roster on paper speaks for itself. They have been struggling a little bit. What do you guys think about that match? And was that maybe the focus this weekend to prepare for?
We've been preparing for both equally this time. I think we kind of learned our lesson losing to Paris that week. It probably showed that we pretty much only prepared for Shock, and I think Shock probably only prepared for us as well. So our other matches that week were very tough, but yeah, we don't really know what to expect from Washington. They've been up and down, but they've got insane players, so they could come out really strong. We'll have to see.
Right. I think that's also a fate that maybe the Outlaws shared with you guys, like having prepared mostly for the Fuel coming into this match. Do you have a prediction of the match that's currently ongoing?
I don't know. I think it's going to be a really close match. I think after losing their last game, Outlaws is probably going to be having a tough time to adapt, and they're going to be scrambling for new strats. So it might be difficult for them. But I think either team could come out on top.
Right. Now, one thing you guys haven't accomplished this season is going to Hawaii and having that experience there. Is this like a big focus of yours, or are you guys already honed in pretty much on the season playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, it is really disappointing that we haven't made it so far, but we're taking it one match at a time, and the end of season playoffs is the final goal. But we would definitely love to go to Hawaii, and going to Hawaii does improve your chances of season playoffs as well. That's still a huge goal for us.
Sweet. Then we say thank you for the interview and good luck on Sunday or Saturday.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.